Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Mata-Bytes. I am Gerald, the commanding officer of Pongo MPC, and your host for tonight. For our live viewers out there, welcome back if this is your X time watching our channel. Fret not if it's your first time joining us, because the full videos from the past 5 episodes are available on our Facebook page, along with some shorter snippets. So today is actually also the winter solstice, which marks the first day of winter. So in the olden days, right, this was actually a very important economical event because monitoring the seasons had a lot to do with farming, harvests, and other seasonal productions. So it's also a time for people to contemplate. So we picked a very apt topic for tonight's episode. So tonight's episode focuses on money and what you need to know about getting a loan. On this note, I would like to introduce my guest host for tonight, Ms. Ko Yi-Hui from Credit Bureau Singapore. So Yi-Hui, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So thank you for taking out your Tuesday night to actually join us in this session. So I am Yi-Hui, the marketing manager for Credit Bureau Singapore. And thank you, Jared, for also inviting me and as well as CBS to this talk session today to share more about CBS perspective on loans.
So let's dive into today's topic. We will start the ball rolling with some questions that we received prior to the event via the QR code, while our live viewers out there can type your questions in the comments panel. I would like to encourage everyone to keep the conversations and discussions respectful and focus on the topic for tonight. So the originator of each question that we answer today, either via the QR code or in the live comments panel, will receive an anti-spill mark that sticks to your tabletop once you pour water into it. So it's a very limited edition anti-spill police mark. So we would have normally given a more detailed introduction on what Credit Bureau does in the introduction, but we decided to move it into the next segment because we have a question from Priya, who asks, how can CBS help me to get a loan? I think that's the top question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, correct. So also I would like to take this chance to address any misconception that the public might have on CBS. So I do understand that actually for people who don't work in the financial industry, it can be quite difficult to understand what the CBS do. And actually for our consumer services, we also do sometimes receive calls asking why did my loan application not approved? And actually CBS, let me just tell you what CBS does, okay? So CBS actually, we are sort of like we are credit bureau that actually has full industrial uploads from all the CBS members like your local retail banks and major financial institutions. So basically what we does is we are also regulated by AMAS, and then we provided this consumer credit report so that it also helps to enhance Singapore's risk management capability. So we actually aggregate the credit related information among all the members that contributed the data to us. So it presents a very complete risk profile of a customer to those credit providers such as banks or FIs. And also basically this helps to determine the likelihood of the customer paying. So also our goal is also to help credit providers like local banks or money lenders to actually make lending decisions quickly and more objectively. So answering back to this question that we have from Priya, CBS is not in a stand whereby we can decide to help or to decide to approve or reject a loan, but rather we provide consumer credit data to lenders in a very consolidated report known as the credit report. Yeah. So
okay,
this credit report, would you like to also show an example of how the credit report looks like? Okay, yeah.
Yes,
so basically the credit report shows several segments. So firstly, your personal details, then currently and what you have applied, what kind of credit facilities you have applied in Singapore before, like for example, your credit cards, your housing loans, and also it shows a very detailed past 12 months repayment status. And also it shows default records. So basically default records means that, for example, if the consumer is unable to pay up an outstanding balance, the deciding bank will then default this application, whereby it will be automatically closed. And then they will come with a settlement to actually settle the remaining outstanding balance. Then for this credit report, it also shows every individual's risk score. So basically this score will show the risk profile of this person repaying his future loans. And then it also shows the aggregated outstanding balances as well as aggregated monthly installment amount. Yeah.
So how much is the cost of this report?
Yeah, so actually it is the fixed price. So you can actually go to our CBS website to pay for it. So it's actually $6.42 inclusive of GST.
I see. So you mentioned earlier that you obtain a consumer's credit information from the banks, and other financial institutions. Are there like some PDPA issues related with doing so? Like it's like my data is actually being taken by Credit Bureau Singapore.
So actually, CBS is very strongly committed to provide protecting everyone's privacy and complying. So even personal or non-personal information is always safeguarded according to the highest privacy and data protection standards. So for instance, if any one of us right now, if you want to download a copy of the credit report, you'll be actually prompted to log in via SingPass to give your authentication and your consent. Whereas for non-SingPass users, we'll always encourage them to walk in through the CBS office so that the officer can actually verify via citing of your photo ID. Then, of course, we do have whereby to actually comply with MAS fit and proper guideline, we do have companies whereby, say, HR, they need to check for employment check purposes.
Okay, yeah, you sound okay right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So going back to the improper purposes, so we do have employment check purposes. So we do have companies that will require this credit report for their employees for fit and to comply to MAS fit and proper guidelines. So in order to do so, we do audit checks and ensure that every employee will submit this letter of consent that's actually signed and obtained before we actually send out any reports to the 3 types of authorized companies. So firstly, we do have government agencies. So secondly, financial institutions that's actually compliant to MAS. And as well, thirdly, banks that are actually registered with the Association of Banks, ABS. Yeah.
Thank you for the explanation. So if I can summarize very quickly, so CBS needs authorization from the consumer before the financial institution actually releases the information.
Yeah, correct.
So I actually have another question. Is this the only service that Credit Bureau provides?
So for consumers who wish to have extra protection over their credit files, we also do have this credit monitoring tool called My Credit Monitor. It's actually also available for our subscription on our CBS website. So basically, it helps to act as a third eye and send SMS and email notifications to the subscribers if there are any new activities on your credit report. So it also helps to prevent identity theft. So it keeps you informed whenever a perpetrator assumes your identity to apply for a credit card or to skip a payment. Secondly, it puts your mind at ease. So basically, instead of you rather checking your credit report, this system will help you to actually track on your behalf. And then if you will actually receive SMS or email alert, so in a sense, you also help to manage your credit reputation and know what is your current credit standing at all times.
I see. Wow. Actually, against this backdrop of data breaches, which are quite common these days, it's conceivable that this leaked data can be sold on the dark web and can be used to commit crimes such as fraudulently applying for credit cards or maybe even opening bank accounts that are used for money laundering. So actually, I felt that this monitor is actually a very useful tool because you actually do get an alert when something happens. And it's actually, I find it a very useful safeguard. I think I would definitely sign up for it myself. We are just going to very quickly pop over to our live questions because I see some related questions to what CBS actually does and about the credit report. So let's just take a package of questions at the same time. So I think we have Joey, who asked if we have bad records, are we still able to get a loan in future?
Okay, so like I slightly mentioned earlier, we do have a credit score. So depending on what is we call it the risk appetite of different loan lenders. So basically, of course, if you have a not so good credit score, the money lender might not be so inclined to want to approve your loan. So we always encourage consumers to always check your credit report from time to time. Make sure you make the full payment monthly and on time every month. Try not to skip your payment, because if you skip your payment, it actually will actually mess up the algorithm of your credit score, and it's not something that can be built up immediately. So for your credit report, for this credit score, basically it takes away all your past 12 repayment cycle, and then they calculate this credit score for you, right? So my suggestion is, it's not say that you make a 1 month good payment, it will suddenly your credit score become good. So it's a gradual thing. So you have to make sure that you're always constantly on good repayment schedule so that your credit score will be better. And of course, if you do have any, say, public records like bankruptcy records, it could be a red flag for these money lenders as well, because they might see you as someone who have higher risk. And as a company, I will want to put my company in a risk that, you know, this borrower is not potentially will not repay me back my money in the future. Yeah.
I see. So on a related note, because you mentioned this credit score, right? So how long is this report valid for? This is a question from Jenny.
Okay, so actually, also taking back my what I said, so there is no, say, a duration of how long this credit report will be for, but usually whenever that someone actually apply for a loan, what the money lender will do, they will immediately actually extract out or ask you to actually send them the earliest credit report. So on the credit report, there is a date. So definitely you won't be able to send a very outdated report, because from the date of the report themselves, they know when you extract it. So like I mentioned, if you always maintain a good repayment status, your credit score will improve gradually. And then this score is actually flexible, so it will changes against time depending on your last 12-month repayment cycle.
I see. And the scores actually range from something like AA to F or something like that, right?
Yes, correct. So basically, say every month there will be a grading, so-called grading that's given to your repayment status. So of course, the best is A, and then B, C, and then until W. W basically means that you do not have the capability to pay for this credit facility anymore, and then the company decided to just close off your account. Yeah.
I see. I think last question that's related, we have one question from Mr. Yo. He asked, if your CBS report is bad, will it affect our job?
Okay, so actually this also depends on the risk appetite of each company. So especially if you are looking for a job, say in the financial sector, most of the companies will have to comply to MASC and proper guideline. They will have to actually extract out your credit report to check. So especially for financial industry, we all know that it's very important that you have to maintain a good credit score, because after all, you're in charge of the company finance. And then we do see many articles of, say, even employees exploiting the company or customer client data to sell. So it's very important that you keep your credit score good. Of course, I would say for financial industry, they do check. So it's very important. Whereas for non-financial industry, I do believe that depending on what kind of position also, you might check. So if I say you're working on a non-financial industry, but you're applying for finance, so they might check. So it actually depends on the risk appetite of every company as well. Yeah.
So let's move on to our next group of pre-submitted questions. We actually have a question from Tom and Mr. Tian, who have very similar questions. Tom asks, how do I know if a money lender is reliable? And Mr. Tian actually asks, how do we know if the agent from a legit bank, as he or she is recommended by a contractor or friends?
Okay, so actually, what you can do is, of course, we will want to encourage everyone to actually apply from licensed money lender. So what you can actually do is you can visit the MinLaw website. So there is actually a PDF that actually shows what are the total licensed list of money lenders that's actually approved in Singapore. So currently, as of now, there's 156 licensed money lenders. And also from what I do understand from MinLaw website, licensed money lenders are only allowed to actually advertise on certain very restricted channels. So I do believe that, Jerry, maybe you want to share about, so on MinLaw website, they actually do share this PDF. So if Jerry, you want to go into details about this.
So, okay, the next package of questions that we have is actually scams related to getting loans. I think we see Mr. Yo actually had an earlier question, which is actually also very similar. She said check the company via the MAS approved website that you just spoke about. But thereafter, the company kept asking his friend to keep making payments upfront before the loan was given. So I think some other questions that we have are like from Susan. They receive a lot of text messages on their handphone from money lenders. Then Brian asked, how do you spot the signs of a loan scam, and is it safe? So I guess when we talk about loan scams related to loans, we can very broadly categorize them into two types. First, I think victims could have either taken loans thinking that it was from a licensed money lender, but ended up being victims of unlicensed money lending instead. Or victims could have been asked to make transfers, like Mr. Yo's friend, for administrative fees or other services that did not end up receiving a loan at all. So we have also received reports from victims who have mentioned very similarly that they visited the MinLaw website, searched for the companies that are listed using a search engine online. Then they sent SMSs to the companies, but ended up being a victim of a loan scam or unlicensed money lender. So the truth is that scammers and unlicensed money lenders also use search engine optimization, very much like all the marketing firms do outside these days. And sometimes they can actually very easily spoof websites that look just like the real deal. Beyond the list of licensed money lenders on the MinLaw website, I think there are a few things that everybody needs to know so that they can verify the authenticity of a money lender to avoid being the victim of a scam or a licensed money lender. First, as you have mentioned earlier, money lenders cannot invite you to take a loan. This means that they cannot solicit through SMSs, WhatsApp messages, or post ads on social media or the newspapers. If you see a Facebook ad or social media advertisement asking you to take a loan, this is definitely a scam because no licensed money lenders are allowed to do so. So if you receive communications in this form, it's definitely a scam. As licensed money lenders are only allowed to publicize their business through their website, so telltale signs that this website could be spoofed is when they actually grant you things like instant approvals or loans without a contract, or very quickly loans through the phone. So third, there's actually also a fee structure that caps loan costs. For example, you cannot pay more than double the principal sum that you have borrowed. So to give you an example, if you borrow $100, you cannot repay the money lender more than $200, inclusive of all the fees and interest involved. So the administrative fee should also be once off, capped at no more than 10% of the loan amount, and late fees should not amount to more than $60. There's also no such thing as a cancellation fee, which is a very common tactic that unlicensed money lenders use. You should not pay a single cent before receiving your loan. This is typical of a loan scam. If you're ever in doubt, the advice that we always give to the public would be visit the physical place of business for the loan company to apply for your loan. You should see everything in writing, sign it, and they should have a shop front to deal with you. So let's just quickly move over into the live questions again. Wow, so I think Ahmad Fauzi has got a question that's probably related to the earlier segment. I think we'll just take it right now. So how does the credit score work for applicants who have never applied for a loan before?
Okay, so credit score, of course, it doesn't only apply to loans. It also apply to other facilities like your unsecured or secured credit card, and say your car loan, housing loan. So actually, basically, if you think about Credit Bureau Singapore, we actually compile all the credit facility information that you have in Singapore. So this also includes your common credit cards as well. Yeah, so basically your credit score, it has a lot of factors that actually affect the score. So for example, your past 12 months repayment cycle, how many credit facility do you have, your total credit limit. So this is actually a lot of factors that comes in. So we will always encourage consumers as well. So try not to apply for too many credit facilities at a very short period of time, because it will also affect your credit score. So if say you apply for many credit facilities in a short span of time, the algorithm will calculate it such that this person is very credit hungry, and then the credit risk, for the risk of this person actually defaulting a payment in the future is higher than normal. So it will also lead to a detrimental effect on your credit score. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Mr. Tian, who asks, do you need an income statement for a fast cash loan? How we'll reinterpret this question is, what do you need when you go to a licensed money lender to apply for a loan? To be honest, we didn't really know the answer as well. So we did a Google search, and we found that some typical documents that are required are the proof of income and employment, the NRIC, your current credit score or past CPF statements, and that's where Credit Bureau Singapore actually comes into play,
Yes.
proof of residency as well. And if you're not a Singaporean, then things like your tenancy agreement, your employment letters, and all these documents will be required. So let's just bounce around back to the live questions again. So I think Mr. Yo asked, my friend went to 2 different money lenders and noticed that they have similar certificates, received awards from political office holders, I guess. Therefore, any signs that we can verify from MAS besides from the approved list from MinLaw. I think the MinLaw website would be the sure way, and especially if they have a physical place of business. Yeah, because
Yes.
because the data will actually be stated on the MinLaw website. I guess they have to be registered. So
Yes, and I
that
think
would be the correct way.
yeah, and I believe most people right now, I mean, if you really want to make sure there's a very legitimate place, of course, on like what Jared has mentioned also, go down to the physical store to actually check on them, because we do all know that scams, the most easy telltale signs is they can spam you a lot of SMSs and advertisements, but you know their shop might not even exist. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess we're just going to take the last question for tonight. So I think Ivan is saying that what portion of our income should be used to pay debts to remain sustainable? I think I'll just answer this off the cuff. It's not official, but I think there's this thing called the total debt servicing ratio, and it shouldn't amount to more than 40% of your income. So that's state governed rules, because I don't think you will be able to get a loan beyond the 40% as well for anything. So I think this covers your housing, your cars, and all other loans that you actually have. So if there are no new questions coming in, I would like to thank Yihui for sharing with us tonight what CBS can do for everyone and how you can go about finding a legitimate loan the right way. So I hope that everyone had a very fruitful session, and we apologize if we did not manage to take your questions tonight. For those with selected questions, as usual, our program team will get in touch. So, and they will arrange to deliver a small token of appreciation for your participation tonight. So on this note, it's the end of the year, so we have something special and interesting to end off tonight's episode. I'm sure everyone has heard of the ScamShield app, which works in the background of your phone to filter out unwanted scam calls and numbers, so that you don't even receive their SMSs, WhatsApp, or phone calls to begin with. So our team has actually prepared a short video on ScamShield and loan scams, and hope that you can take a moment to watch it, and more importantly, download the app, as it not only gives you peace of mind by filtering out unwanted messages, but it could also help you and your loved one avoid becoming the victim of a scam.
I needed money. The message said that they are a legal loan company. I sent the front and back of my NRIC and paid a $500 admin fee. In the end, I did not receive any loan.
Do you know who could be a victim of scam? The truth is, everyone is a potential victim. I'm Inspector Singhi. Let me share with you on how you can protect yourself from becoming a victim. 6 out of 10 Singaporeans have encountered scams, and about 1 of them would fall victim.
You have an unclaimed parcel.
Sorry, that was yet another scam call. Everyone is a potential victim, me included. Scammers do not care what your race, gender, or occupation is. But allow me to let you in on a secret. There is a way to avoid receiving such unnecessary phone calls and messages. ScamShield is an application that filters out scam calls and messages for you. Once installed, it works in the back to block all scam calls and messages. The app also allows you to report unlisted scam numbers to the police to improve the AI's competency. ScamShield is a convenient tool that protects you and your loved ones, keeping your money safe. Not only that, it stops unnecessary distractions in your life. Download this app today to stay safe and feel good, knowing that you have stopped the scammers from approaching you.